I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum. I'm all out of bubble gum.
But I mean, it's a friend. I mean, we're just having a friendly discussion about the markets, and we'll probably agree on most things.
Well, I mean, you guys are going to agree with me if you agree with facts. So, for instance, the beginning of the show, somebody said Herbalife was trash, right? But I'm willing to guess that the guys that talked that smack have no idea what the price chart of Herbalife looks like. So which one of you other guys talked that smack about Herbalife? Which one of you was it?
Oh, let me actually get the price chart of Herbalife while you're talking, Rich.
Oh, I got it right here in front of me, baby. Because I got facts and these other guys have noob fantasies because they're noobs. So which one of you plebs on the screen here with me said Herbalife was trash? Which one of you guys? It was Mike Alfred, I think.
I didn't say Herbalife was trash. I said,
hold on.
HEX was the Herbalife of crypto. It's very different. And I noticed they cut some of the responses from the other people on stage because people found that pretty funny last time. People seem to think HEX is a joke.
Let me ask you a question.
Richard, I actually do feel bad a little bit because you've sort of been made into one of these pariahs of the space, right? You're like one of the people that Hillary Clinton would talk about on stage, the far right people. That's what you are in crypto, and that sucks.
Okay, really unfair.
Well, Mike, I appreciate that. Listen, you're saying friendly things. I want to savage you less now, but I do. So I'll be non-controversial about this then. Okay, people use Herbalife as an example of a Ponzi scheme, and then people that shorted Herbalife went bankrupt and lost billions of dollars.
Well, Bill Ackman shorted it and he didn't go bankrupt, but yeah, he lost $1 billion.
He lost billions of dollars.
$1 billion. Yep, exactly.
So Herbalife only dropped from its top 68%. Bitcoin dropped 75%. Herbalife over a 10-year period went up 20x. That's it.
Why are we talking about Herbalife?
Because he introduced the idea. People say all these things and assume that they're correct, but they're factually incorrect. Herbalife's chart is mostly up and to the right.
You can't rebut a comment about Herbalife by just pointing to the price chart. That's like, it has
when the
nothing
only
to do
thing
with
anyone
what it
cares
is.
about is price. Yes, I can.
No, that's not true. That's not what people care about.
Hold on. I think comparing HEX to Herbalife is a very bad comparison. I mean, it may have the enthusiasm of Herbalife, but Herbalife sells a tangible product. You can eat, you can take the supplement, you can do. HEX is a very, very different story. So I think before we get,
you're saying you can't eat HEX? That's funny. Rando, before we move off, the point is not about the price chart. The point is about the cult of people that shill this token the same way they shill the diet products, right? It's not a multi-level scam. Richard is highly, highly intelligent because every single thing that he did with HEX was designed to just go right beyond the limits of what technically is, a multi-level marketing scheme, right? Or just beyond the limits of what is technically a Ponzi scheme, right? So HEX is not a Ponzi scheme. It's not a multi-level marketing scheme, right? Richard is shaking his head. I'm agreeing with everything that he says on his website.
Yeah, I know.
But the way it's marketed and the way people, it still feels exactly like Herbalife. It has all these similarities.
But Mike, let's just take one step back, and I think let's try and turn this into a little bit of a more fact debate.
I just take pride in pointing out things no one else realizes, okay? I'm the only person to ever come on your show and point out that Herbalife has an awesome chart. It's just me, okay? I'm the only person in the history of the whole internet that's ever said a nice thing about it, and I don't particularly like the business model. It introduces the maximum number of middlemen, the maximum friction to get in between product and user. So it's completely inefficient. Yeah, I do not like middlemen. I do not like MLMs. I do not like pyramid schemes, which is why HEX had a 1-year referral program that was programmed to terminate after a year. And so we had a referral program. I programmed it to terminate after a year because I don't like MLMs. I don't like Ponzi schemes. So I'm the grand champion.
I agree with you. See, I knew I was going to love this show. Rich and I agree on so many things.
Okay, so I think let's first say, guys, if you are here, just smash the like button. If you're not subscribers, to all the Hexicans who are here, subscribe to our channel, join us. Let's have some fun here. And also let us know in the comments what you think of the guest points. Let's start off with something that I think some of us may actually be able to agree on. And then we'll go into HEX and we'll go into Pulse. I want to talk about Bitcoin. And I want to talk about where we are with Bitcoin. Prices have been coming down. We're back down at 20,300, I think is the last price that I saw. And the question is, how far until we get to the bottom? Have we seen the bottom?
11K per. That's it. So they got a 33% discount on Grayscale Bitcoin, which is a 50% free money. And that's even if it doesn't trade at a 20% premium like it normally does. So let's say that's a 60% free money. And yes, that's how adding percentages works. 50 and 20% combined.
It's never going to trade at a
60%,
premium
not
ever
70.
again, Richard. It's never going to
Maybe.
trade at a premium. It
Maybe,
never will.
but it'll
because,
break even.
because the competitive dynamic is totally different now, right? There
Maybe.
are other ETFs, there are other products. Nobody needs to own Grayscale.
I'm fine with that. I don't want Grayscale to trade at a premium.
I'm just
it's
saying
also another middleman.
it'll never trade
I
at a
don't like
premium ever
middlemen.
again. Period. It'll never.
Fine with that. Okay, so instead of a 60% free money, you're going to get a 50% free money because they really do hold the coins factually.
Right. I think it's a 33. What is it? 35% discount.
Yeah,
right
but
now?
a 33% discount is a 50% bonus. So if you buy something at 66 and you can sell it for 100, you're buying it for 33 off, but your profit of 33 on 66 is 50%.
50%. Yeah.
Yeah. So no one in legacy finance is going to leave 1% of the entire Bitcoin supply, which is what they hold. They hold 1% of the entire Bitcoin supply. And of the actual like coins you might be able to get your hands on, it's probably a far higher percent because Satoshi coins have never moved, even though they're counted for circulating supply. Lol. And he's got 5% of supply. He's got about 1 million coins. So the 300,000 coins that Grayscale's sitting on, you can buy them with a free 50% profit. And until those get bought up, you're going to have nothing but sell pressure because if in theory you wanted to arb that out, you would buy the cheap Bitcoin from Grayscale, just dissolve the trust, and then sell them into the market and then reap your profit. And so the Grayscale trading, the 1% of Bitcoin supply that's in Grayscale encapsulated is just sell pressure. The Mt. Gox coins, which should be coming out, what in the next year sometime, 6 months, 3 months, who knows, right? They've missed every single deadline. But they will eventually come out. They have another 180,000 coins. Finex hackers got 70,000 coins that DOJ is trying to sell. And then Ross Ulbricht has who knows how many coins that the marshals are going to sell of his. And so we have untold sell pressure everywhere. And we're going to have the staked ETH come out when the merge happens. And so all that 10% of ETH supply that was locked up as staked ETH, that can get dumped on the market too. And it's another buy the rumor, sell the news event. So you've got nothing but a perfect hurricane of downside for Bitcoin. And you're now sitting, 10 or 11 or 14% over the local bottom of 17,400? Lol, dead cat, weak bounce, terrible, trash.
Jody, what do you think?
I mean, some of these things are just factually completely untrue, of course. I mean, I don't know if Richard knows that they are, or he just says these things. But, first of all, with Grayscale, nobody can just buy some Grayscale and liquidate the trust. Only one person can liquidate the trust, and he has no incentive to do so because he's earning 2% on that huge amount of money every year. So basically, if something's at a 20% discount, the market is saying, I think this is going to remain locked up for 8 years or 9 years, whatever exactly 2% to the ninth is. So 1.02 to the ninth is the discount that you're getting if you think it's going to be locked up for 9 years. Barry has no reason to dissolve this trust when he's just getting paid every year, right?
Can we agree that the legacy markets front ran the Coinbase listing? And that's the reason that you saw Grayscale premiums run up before the listing, and then you saw them fall shortly before it and continue to fall after. Can we all agree on that?
No, we can't agree because the premium was there for years. It was there because there was no accessible way for Americans like in an IRA account to get access to it, right? So people were desperate to get Bitcoin exposure. It was an easy way to do it. And so it traded at a premium for years, but it flipped negative because everybody thought there was free money lying on the ground, BlockFi, Celsius, et cetera, right? Everybody was taking that NAV trade. And so that's when people got trapped because people got greedy and they were trying to arb that and they ended up arbing themselves to death.
There is absolutely no reality in which that Bitcoin is not sell pressure or virtual sell pressure by absorbing buy pressure at a discount.
It's psychological
either
because Richard, it's literally it can't be sold right now. So it's psychological. It's all
you just told me they sold 2.5% of it every year. Your words, you just said it. You just said they sell $600 million a year.
That's not what he
your
said.
words.
Nobody said that.
He sold this. He said he would never wrap up the trust because he's
getting 2% a year. But do you think he's selling those immediately?
$600 million. Well, where's the
Barry has so much cash flow, he doesn't need to sell Bitcoin. He just takes the Bitcoin and puts it on his own.
I think we're arguing semantics here because it doesn't matter whether they're selling or not. Anyone who owns Bitcoin and is going to hold Bitcoin for the long term can sell their Bitcoin spot and buy shares in the Grayscale Trust and effectively buy the same net asset value at 35% less. And in fact, if you are thinking of holding Bitcoin for 10 years, that's actually a great trade because you know that within 10 years, they either have to liquidate the trust or it needs to become an ETF.
Sure, but it's not Bitcoin. It's just, let's be clear about that. It's not Bitcoin and cold storage, right? Which has a lot more value to an individual than a Grayscale trust where there is counterparty risk, right? There's a risk that somebody else fucks something up. Their custodian, Coinbase, could lose the keys. Their custodian could go bankrupt, if their custodian goes bankrupt, then it doesn't matter whether you own something called GBTC. You don't actually own anything. You own shares.
I agree
in
with
something
all that,
lost all
but
its
it's still just sell pressure.
Let's not stick on GBDC. So, Jordy, you're saying that on the one hand, you're saying you're not worried about the GBDC sell pressure. I tend to agree with Richard here. For as long as you can buy Bitcoin at a 35% discount, there's no incentive for you to go and buy it on the open market if you're a big institution, if you're a big fund manager, because you don't really care about holding your own keys. In fact, you maybe even prefer to get an institution to do it for you and to leverage off their insurance. What else?
Institutions care a lot about liquidity, right? So if there's something that you're not going to really have a lot of liquidity in, you will give a premium to something else. Now, whether that premium should be 30% or 10% or 20%, it's a different story. But I guess if the question is more about like Bitcoin's price, if it's going to go up, if it's going to go down, I think we all know that it's kind of been in a rather large downtrend. There's two ways to look at this. One is, we're at a huge discount. This is the time to buy and just wait because, historically things go down 80%. If you wait, for the next halving, you'll do pretty well. On the other hand, we have to admit, there's a little bit of a crisis in Bitcoin right now in terms of the thesis of Bitcoin. Like, what's the story of Bitcoin? Of course, it was supposed to be kind of acting well in inflationary periods, and we saw that kind of shitcoins did really suck up a lot of the extra liquidity. And now that we're entering a stagflation period, is where we'll have to see will it kind of be a stagflationary protection or not? So that's really going to come into play over the next year.
So I must say,
why don't we just raise our hands if we call the top on the day? I called the top on the day. Didn't you guys call the top on the day? I called the top on the day.
Richard, you're not a circus. You're not a circus clown, though. Come on.
What are you talking about?
Nobody who cares about markets and investing over a long period of time thinks it's cool when somebody says, hey, my one claim to fame is I called the bottom or I called the top. That's not sustainable value creation. You keep doing that.
I did this 2 cycles.
It's the cars and the diamonds and the clothes and the top calling and stuff like that, right?
I promise you,
that's your whole shtick. That's your whole shtick.
I promise you will get there, Mike. I promise you will get there. I promise you will get there.
Does no one care about the price but me? Is it just me?
You care about the price more than you care about value. You care more about it than you care about fundamentals, right? You don't actually care what's underlying something, right? Which is how people got crushed in Terra Luna. They didn't care.
Bitcoin's backed by pollution.
They looked at the chart of the price chart and they said it's up 50x. It must be good, and then they lost all their money, right? This happens over and over again in financial markets, over and over.
How many places can you buy a Bitcoin miner from and be profitable? 2?
Hey, Richard,
how many pools can you use? 5.
You're really, really good at tricking stupid people. That's your whole shtick. You've been doing it for a long time. Why don't you answer the question? You're just not as good at tricking people to actually understand how markets work. So raise your hand again and say, I called the top of the market. Nobody cares.
Call the top twice, 2 cycles.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Circus
gave away $500 million of free money to Bitcoiners exclusively.
Nobody cares. Circus tricks.
Free self-help books, free self-help videos. Call the top
actually, could you? I'll send you my address. I would like one of those. I just want to see what's
t.me/SciVive. Or you can download the audiobook. It's on YouTube.
Thanks,
SciVive.
So I mean, I am a little bit concerned about the Bitcoin thesis. I must be honest. I think Bitcoin's gone through multiple theses. We've had the cash, wasn't really good cash. It wasn't really a good inflation hedge. Do you guys believe long term that we're going to get another all-time high? And if we do get another all-time high, that it's going to go another 5x, 10x from here?
It's inevitable. Yes. If it's as long as it's priced in US dollars or euros or yen or as long as other fiat currencies exist, Bitcoin will eventually be worth more. How much more? Nobody knows, right? And anybody who says they do, anybody who says they can call the top or the bottom or whatever, it's circus tricks, right? It's nothing to do with long-term value creation. Value of Bitcoin is that it sucks up the liquidity from these weaker assets over time, and it's just going to systematically do that.
So, Mike, I think I may agree with you if we're going to see another all-time high, but do you see another 5x or 10x in Bitcoin?
Over a 10 or 20. My time horizon is not Richard's time horizon is the next 3 weeks, right? My time horizon is the next 3 decades. So yes, of course it's going to go up 5 or 10x over 3 decades.
Bro, when did you get into Bitcoin? I've been in this since Q1 of 2011.
This is another one.
What's my time horizon again?
You were also in spamming people in your early 20s. You spent your entire 20s spamming people with Viagra pills. you literally
what is this?
You can't stop cutting corners, buddy. Your whole
oh my God.
How do I get rich as quick as possible? Mike, I don't care how I do it.
Come on,
right?
We will eventually be old men. We will be happy that there's people selling Viagra pills out there.
Could you send me a sample of Viagra, buddy?
Yeah.
Do you mind? Do you still in that business?
Rich, I want to hear your opinion.
Crazy.
Mike, I promise you, I'm going to let you get very personal with Richard.
I don't want to get personal. I actually,
Jesus Christ.
Richard's one of my favorite
he likes
people.
me.
I do. Richard, I think you're great for the space, buddy.
I have a whole section here to let you get in, but I really want to get Richard's views on what happens next with Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin will make new all-time highs, particularly when it's priced in the dollar, as Mike said. It's just at the top of its S curve. Everyone thinks they're early, even though it's 13 years old. Everyone thinks they're early, even though it's a ticker on CNBC. And Jim Cramer talks about it all the time. And it's the world's richest guy bought it. And a country made it legal tender and FOMO'd it. Like, guys, pro tip, you're not early. You're late, okay? It's old, crappy, garbage technology that's slow and is actually buggy and has no roadmap and didn't even follow the roadmap they used to have. And so if you buy it and it doesn't have another inflation bug, hopefully, of which it's had two, then maybe you'll get a 3X or a 4X over 5 or 10 years. Congrats. You waited 5 years to be down money right now. Versus inflation, you're down over 5 years. It's garbage. Top of its S curve, trash.
Is there a price at which you'd buy Bitcoin? Is there a price in the cycle that if Bitcoin goes down to $5,000, you're not buying it?
I mean, if it dropped 98%, maybe.
So
but a 95% drop, probably not. I'd just buy Ethereum instead. Ethereum's better than Bitcoin in every single possible way. So why wouldn't you just buy that?
And I hear the difference of opinion, Richard. Like, I don't disagree with everything that you're saying. Bitcoin is much bigger today than it was 10 years ago. But the main difference of opinion that I hear is that you think of it as a tech stack, and I think of it as money. I think of it as a monetary.
Yeah, but you're
system.
wrong.
No, you don't know that yet.
You're measurably wrong. It is
not measurably wrong.
Bitcoin goes up
every
and
week,
down.
every month, every year. There are more wallets. There are more people in the emerging world using Bitcoin as an alternative store of value. That's where fundamental value creation comes.
No, it's not
you
true.
want to cross the border in Central Africa to get away from
measure the fundamentals
by some neighboring tribe. Guess what?
Ready?
You probably
let's measure the fundamentals. Where are all the developers? Ethereum. Where are all the new users? Ethereum.
Again,
where is all the innovation?
Developers because you care
about where's the roadmap? Ethereum. Where's the price performance? Ethereum. Where are the stable coins? Where's the margin trading? Where's the anonymity? Ethereum. Like where's the thing that's actually trying to save the environment and switch off of proof of work to proof of stake?
That's
Ethereum.
Bullshit. That part.
Where are you getting a free copy of all your coins with pulsechain.com? Ethereum. Bitcoin's getting none of that. Bitcoin is a piece of trash, top of its S curve, lame duck garbage, and it had 5 years to be now at a negative. What did you think that people that bought in 2017 at the top there would be negative after 5 years? They are. It's disgusting trash. The developers are leaving it left and right. Peter Wooley doesn't even have the right to push to the GitHub anymore. He gave up his keys. Everybody's leaving. Like,
so Richard,
everybody that ever did well in Bitcoin leaves it.
People that bought HEX last year, right? People that bought HEX at 50 cents, they're down 90%. When are they going to be? When are they going to be, like you say, in like blue air?
Well, here's the problem. HEX went up versus Bitcoin 30x the first time it died when I called the top, and it dropped in half. So Bitcoin, when I called the top at 65K, dropped down to 55% drop. Then people bought a fake double top on leverage, which would be Michael Saylor, 3 Hours Capital, Celsius. All these guys got leveraged up. They didn't want to do the normal blow off top market cycle, buy the rumor, sell the news. Oh, look, Coinbase listing, easy sell the news. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to get leveraged up. And so what they did was they bought a new, slightly higher high for a single day. There was one day that my top call wasn't in profit, one single day where it made a 6% higher high and didn't have any part of the candle at 65K. And that was at 69K. And then it went straight down. And so my top call's been in profit every single day for the last year and a half, longer now, except for one, the Judas candle that got people long and wrecked them. And now all those guys are liquidated and bankrupt. Not totally liquidated. The liquidation proceedings aren't finished.
Yeah, but we're talking about HEX, though. The question is, like, when people who bought HEX
I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. HEX ran up 60x versus Bitcoin the first time it died. But we had other things going on. We have our own market cycle. So a lot of people were participating in sacrifices for freedom of movement and freedom of speech, and they would prefer to sacrifice at higher values probably. And then that maybe tended to get a lot of people interested in HEX. And unfortunately, although it did a 60x versus Bitcoin, the first time Bitcoin dropped 55%, because the cycles timed up together so that the next time Bitcoin died, HEX also had its own kind of cyclical event. It looks like we're correlated. In reality, we're not correlated. Like, historically, we're not correlated to Bitcoin.
I agree with that, because in the long run, HEX is going to zero and Bitcoin isn't. So they can't be correlated.
I've never understood this. If we took Bitcoin and we just used Ethereum miners instead of Bitcoin miners, it would still work fine. It's just different guys sucking up electricity. They're both proof of work systems, right? And then if we said, you know what, we're going to inflate, not to blow up the environment and use SHA-256, but we're going to inflate to get you to lock up your coins, it would still be Bitcoin, but a proof of work change. And that's all HEX is. It's literally Bitcoin with less negative externalities.
No, it's an Ethereum token. It can't be Bitcoin. Sorry.
How many inflation bugs has your coin had too? No,
Yeah,
you don't, dude. Just a token. You don't realize that ERC20s are more secure against inflation bugs than Ethereum itself. Because you don't know anything about
Hex is
software.
literally an inflation bug. But it's
Nope.
by design. It's
Nope.
designed
Then
to
why
just
is
print
it up?
inflation.
Why is it up 250x versus Bitcoin?
Hold on.
Explain.
Let's settle this, Mike. I feel that you have a lot of resentment.
I have a lot of love for Richard.
So what I want to know, but towards Hex. I know you love Richard, but it sounds like you have an issue with Hex. So
I don't. I think it's one of the most brilliant
he
scam
thinks
projects
that
ever created.
Let me show you.
I think it's one of the most intelligent scam projects ever that has ever existed. I give Richard a lot. He's been working on this since his 20s, right? He's been literally doing scams since his early 20s. He's got 20 years of experience. If you look at his resume, it's like scamming people with audiovisual equipment, spamming them with an anti-aging pill. Hey, let me finish, Richard. I let you finish. And so now he discovered crypto, and he's like, how do I make the most money? So first he learned Bitcoin. He was one of the best Bitcoin maxis. He stood up and yelled down Craig Wright and told him he wasn't Satoshi, and he sort of knows Bitcoin better than most Bitcoiners. That's why he demolishes the Bitcoin maxis every time he tries to do a debate with them, which I agree with, which I think it's stupid to try to debate Richard on Bitcoin. But the problem is that he's so smart that he created this thing that was guaranteed to fail because he thinks it's funny. And I figured out his fatal flaw a few months ago when I was going on this HEX documentary. I finally figured out Richard Hart. I think the thing that Richard Hart believes that's most important in all of this entire conversation is that literally everything in the world is a scam. Google's a scam, Facebook's a scam, Amazon's a scam, Bitcoin's a scam, Ethereum's a scam, Viagra's a scam. So like to Richard, it's just sport, right? He's just trying to see who can make the coolest, biggest scam. And he's very good at it. And that's why, again, I respect him a lot. I think that what he does, he's one of the best in the world. And, that's saying a lot right there.
How would you define what he does? How would you define what he does? You said he
is the best corner cutting scam producer in the history of the space. Like he is able to basically find everybody's hot button, right? So like a user who's poor, who wants to get rich quickly, Richard is their man. Richard literally knows how to like hit